Every morning the world starts quietly, one soft light at a time. Homes flicker awake, shops open. People take those first small steps into a brand new day. And in all of that ordinary movement, there's something kind of extraordinary. A moment worth noticing, a spark you feel before you even name it. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's small, but kindness shows up right on time. And every morning we choose to show up with you so we can look for that spark together.
Good morning. I'm Matt Roof, the Uncommon Kindness Guy, and this is Kindness Rising. Let's rise together.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, friends. Today we are exploring our continued conversation about a strength that doesn't really trend well in today's world as we descend further into the craziness that is our world right now. We're talking about the opposite of what occurs. We're talking about not a loud strength, not a performative strength, not the kind that's designed for click, 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 click. Ooh, I gotta get. I'm talking about the strength that James Allen calls serenity. A strength that doesn't shout, but it shapes. A strength that isn't about winning the moment, but winning the future. Oscar Scott, hello, hello, welcome, welcome. I hope you are well today. I am glad you are right here with us. Absolutely. I recognize you and I am glad you have joined us. Where are you coming from, Oscar? What is your story? Tell us more. We want to know you. Join our community. Get involved for sure. Anyway, this is what I'm talking about. Serenity. It's a word that people, I think, associate, maybe, at least I have in my life, associated as kind of being a little hokey, right? Some might remember the Serenity Now episode of Seinfeld, right? But I'm talking about not the kind of serenity that it's like, oh, we're out in peace and we're gonna. I'm just talking about being calm inside of ourselves. Inside of ourselves. Alan writes, and why I brought that up is he writes that he who masters calmness of the mind, even the winds of the soul obey. That's the image. That's the image I'm sitting with after I smash my coffee across the room. That's the image I'm sitting with, that inner weather, right? You can lead it yourself intentionally, and it doesn't have to be feared. Good morning, Mike Sullivan. Welcome into Kindness Rising this morning. Oscar Scott from Washington. That's right. Well, Oscar, you're out in Washington. I appreciate that you are up and at 'em early with the early birds with Mike Sullivan, who is also up and at it early every day with us. So here's the thing. The world is just crazy, right? It's noisy. Our nervous systems are overloaded. We're constantly bombarded with images, with messages, with arguments, with loudness. Oh, Western Australia. Western Australia. Palmed. Not Washington. You told me you were from Australia before. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you for coming back from all the way in Western Australia, not Washington. Oh, God. I'm in upstate New York, United States. Serenity does the opposite of all that craziness, all that bombardment. It's going to buy us space, clarity, and power. It's going to give us a chance to laugh at ourselves when we confuse our WAs. And today, throughout the day, we're going to look at what I'm calling three faces of serenity, right? When I think about people being calm, we think about, oh, people who are calm under pressure. That's always a big one, right? we're going to talk about that one. But there's other types of calm and other types of serenity too, and knowing within ourselves. And I'm going to feature 3 individuals. We're going to talk about crisis. We're going to talk about conversation and how to control the message and the frame of the message. And we're going to talk about strategy with time horizon and life being having a thread, right? And all those things come from 3 different worlds, but they're united by one idea. You don't have to be loud to be strong. Sometimes you have to be loud at the right times, but you don't have to be loud to be strong. So let's begin. All right. Keep it going here in the comment. What makes you feel calm? Like it feel calm when I'm with your dog. Oh, that's awesome, Oscar. Yeah. We have cats. Our pets definitely help us feel calm. Sometimes they make us feel crazy too. We've had those kind of things with our cats, but pets are a thing for me. Music, Oscar. I listen to a lot of music. It helps me to get vibing. Yesterday I was cooking and I was just in a state of flow. Yesterday? Yeah, that was yesterday. Geez, it feels like forever ago, but it was just yesterday. I was doing some cooking, whatever puts me in that state of flow. And I like to do a lot of different things. So, just returning to the present moment. Absolutely. I mean, that's a real strategy, right? Grounding yourself in the moment. But it starts with that awareness. First of all, being aware, right, that I'm not so grounded, and then bringing yourself right back to the present moment. Yes, Roseanne Roof, good morning. Good morning, mother. Stay warm is right. It is freezing. I went out to fire up the vehicles for the family that's off to work, and it's chilly. I'm headed out there shortly after this too. So yeah, it's definitely a little chilly for sure. All right, so let's talk about our stories. I'm going to continue to lean into trying to share video, get better at it. The only way we get better at things is to practice them, right? And get it going. All right. It was 17 years ago.
And there were flames coming out of the number 1 engine.
I just saw the big splash when the plane just bounced over the water.
It was coming low, too low, and all of a sudden it just hit the water.
It hit the water right behind the Intrepid. We saw it right in the center of the Henry Hudson. It looked like a huge water explosion.
There is an airplane down in the Hudson River right off Manhattan.
They were 6 minutes into their flight when they encountered some sort of problem. Initial reports are a bird strike.
He probably had seconds to decide whether he could get that plane and take it back to the airport or bring it down somewhere.
This pilot was an ace. He knew exactly what he was doing.
The pilot did a masterful job of landing the plane in the river.
It was not a miracle. It was many people rising to the occasion on their own initiative, making it their personal mission in life to see that each life was saved.
And I looked up.
All right. I think that's awesome hearing him talk about hearing him, Sully himself, talking about other people, right? He got all the attention as the pilot, but what kind of leadership is that he leads with all the people, right? But the point of that is related to that calmness under pressure. I cannot imagine all those people who were with him, working with him, the co-pilots, all the passengers had to be working together as a team. And we saw not a miracle, but he had practiced it. And when the moment came, he was able to be calm under pressure. Precision under compression, right? That's what calmness is in a crisis. The calm that wasn't discovered in the moment, it was earned, though. It was earned by him through repetition and through years and years of training. And it was proof that of course he was scared. Everybody was scared because Serenity isn't the absence of fear, though. It's the mastery of the response. Absolutely. Oscar Scott, what's my favorite song? Ooh, tough one. Favorite song of all time? Oof, that's too big. But I do talk a lot about my connection to the Grateful Dead. Absolutely. It would have to be something from the Dead catalog, probably, if I had to lean into an absolute favorite of the Dead. It might be Help on the Way. I really enjoy that. Jerry song, and then Looks Like Rain, Bob Weir. Okay, I can live with those choices. Yes, the Tom Hanks Quiet Hero, absolutely. So, Sully. Yes, different kinds of Sullys coming at it. He's a good man, and so are you, Mike Sullivan, future life coach. All right. Take another little sip here before we move on to our second story. A little different type of internal serenity shown, a little bit of calm under pressure, but actually more about being able to own a conversation. Owning a conversation while remaining kind, while remaining engaged and thoughtful, and not raging and not screaming. A woman who an amazing influential writer sitting across the room from the interviewer. The camera lights are on, the tables between them, and he starts a dialogue and a question about race, and the subject of the interview has a chance to give him some different perspective, but does it in a very I'm trying to find it. Very serene, very present, very thought-provoking way. Too many screens. The person I'm talking about, if you don't know her, is Toni Morrison. And I'm going to try to make this video play. This is just a snippet of her response. Toni Morrison, the author, when asked, or is talking about a time when she was asked why she does not write about white people.
Who has done it, by the way. Sure. But I mean, if I can say, when are you going to write about Black people to a white writer, if that's a legitimate question to a white writer, then it is a legitimate question to me. I just don't think it is. You know, so the glove has to be pulled inside out. If it's in other words, it's not a literary question. It has nothing to do with the literary imagination. It's a sociological question that should not be put to me. I couldn't ask that of any writer who was, I wouldn't ask it of a Black writer when you're going to write about white people. Now, maybe I'm wrong. You can tell me now or later if I've blown it up all out of proportion. I don't think so. I just don't know what the question means except what I think it means.
So if you haven't seen that entire interview at some point in your lives, I would suggest watching it to anyone who wants to see mastery of a conversation, of a centeredness. There could have been a moment of anger, of rage, of whatever it might be, but you can see how she pauses, doesn't rush to answer, to find inside that frame of, why would you ask me that question? Would you ask a white person that question? And if it was appropriate for me to ask that question, then it would be appropriate. I thought that was just very poignant And you could kind of see in the interviewer's face when he's leaning on his chin, it's like he had to sit for a moment with his own assumptions of his own presence, his own perspective. Yes, absolutely. And they weren't even, just for the point of accuracy, they weren't even talking. Charlie Rose didn't ask the question. They were talking about someone else who had asked her that question, and she was talking about her thinking and her feeling behind that. And he continued as a good interviewer to ask follow-up questions. The whole video is about 7 minutes long, but it's worth watching if you have a chance. Toni Morrison's got some amazing insight. The whole point was that she was able to reframe a question, right? In that moment, without crazy volume. She just influenced the direction of that question, right? She controlled the tempo of the conversation, right? She reacted in a way that was calm and measured and self-possessed. She knew where she stood. You know, Oscar, I wish I knew that. That sounds like a question for a sociologist, but I think it must have something to do with the power structure, right? Systemic power structures, punching up versus punching down, would be my guess. But I don't know. It's a good question, though. Others might have input into it. I know that I'm not interested in humor that is mean. Self-effacing is all right, whatever. But I'm not interested in mean humor. I think it's okay to point out our differences, especially when it's us pointing out and telling our story about how we're different. I love that. Love that. But I'm not interested in mean humor. I mean, I've laughed at stuff. I know that you probably have too. But at the same time, it's okay to be a little self-possessed and ask yourself, what are you really laughing at? All right. Anyway, that was Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison showing us calm, conversational serenity. I hope coming here has a little bit of a calming and conversational serenity for you. We can still laugh and enjoy, but at least we don't have to. You don't have to yell. What's that from? Does anybody know that reference? You don't have to yell. I forget. When you're mad, you think about ducks, Oscar. Okay. Whatever I say, good. Whatever grounds and centers you, I'm interested. Do you know why ducks mean so much to you? We all, I think, have objects or certainly animals, right? I've got my fox on my head too. Our spirit animals that represent. Is there something about the duck, Oscar, that you feel connected to? That's a great question. I think a great conversation. I'd be interested for sure. While you're thinking about it, get back to me. I want to talk about attention following the vibe. Attention following the vibe. Yep. The news just came out. Meta's Threads has surpassed X in daily users. Last week, 141 million Meta Threads, 125 million X. It's big. It's big, obviously. I mean, Threads is... all right. Good morning, Lindemann, and Asengendak. Welcome. Hello. I am glad you are here. I'm glad you are here. Welcome to Kindness Rising. We've switched our conversation from serenity, calmness, which is what we lead with, telling stories about that. Right now, we are talking about the attention vibe, switching from X to Meta's Threads. That's a big deal because we know how social platforms don't just capture our attention. They actually shape it and they reflect the mood, the vibe, the vibe in the room, right? And there's a difference going on. There's a shift going on, right? X is like the global town square. There's conflict everywhere. There's great ideas, arguments being had. I'm not saying there's not value in it, but there is definitely a different vibe, right? And the vibe at Threads is more conversational. It's more coffee shop. It's lighter, calmer, and more human. Absolutely. And it feels a little less adrenaline food. I would love to hear it, Oscar. That I asked you straight up, why do ducks mean so much to you? What is it about a duck? I'm glad to listen. I am glad to share. Anna Mara Jamanak. Wow. Okay. You practicing your typing? Very good. All right. Anyway, X was the global town square for conflict. Threads is becoming the coffee shop. Absolutely. And that means a lot. That means a lot because that's what we're trying to do. Got a toy duck. Okay. Yeah. So keep telling your stories, Oscar, and we'll catch up in a minute on that while I finish the discussion about the platforms. Absolutely. So this is the kind of the same cultural pivot that's happening right here on Kindness Rising. And in the mornings in the lab, we're moving from noise conversation to nuance, from outrage to curiosity, leaning into and asking questions, understanding each other and connecting. And that's it, from connecting instead of trying to dunk on somebody or trying to win the argument. Perhaps we're getting to the point where we're starting to listen to each other a little bit more, right? I think what's going to happen is wherever people feel safest to show up, that's where they're going to show up. Some people feel safe in that outrage as a mask, right? So they'll probably show up where that exists. And some people want to bring calmness and vulnerability and interest and curiosity and all that. And that's where we'll show up, just like we do here on Kindness Rising. I'm interested. I just noticed how bad the shadow is on my face. Anybody else notice that? All right. Oh, you lost it. You felt connected. Okay. You got him back? How did you get it back? We have an interesting story in our house about getting it back. For sure. I'd be interested to hear how you got it back. Okay. So yeah, so we were talking about how mornings in the lab and what we're doing here. That's what we're trying to do. We're building this network out in order to make real connection with people, to have real conversation in the chat, in the live, having real connection with people. So that's what we're doing here, because real creativity that is scalable. We're going to be having a new show coming up in just a couple of short weeks. It starts with joy. Cheryl Raphael Whitaker will be joining us, and I hope that you will check out her show. She's going to be joining me here on Kindness Rising coming up real soon. At some point, I will drop her bio and all that, but check her out. Certainly a very dynamic person who is like the rest of us here, trying to lift the world up and rise above the noise and the insanity of the world. Interesting. Nice. Oscar, when was that, buddy? That sounds like a good core memory, just thinking about it. So I'm going to tell a little funny story, I guess, about ours, because we had Rainbow Sparkles. Wasn't ours, it was our child's. And Rainbow Sparkles was very special. Little tiny little doll. And one day we were driving down the highway, coming home from a friend's house to our house, which is, a little ways away. We had to get on the highway. And for some reason, the window was rolled down and Rainbow Sparkles went bouncing behind our minivan down Route 81. And we kept going 65 miles an hour, pulled over, the screaming, the craziness, and all that. But we never did find Rainbow Sparkles, but somehow Rainbow Sparkles appeared back to us, was delivered back. A woman found her, washed her up, and sent her back to us. Maybe September to August. Okay, cool. That's amazing. So Rainbow Sparkles made it back to us through some kind of magic. Yes, absolutely. That magic starts with an E and ends with a bay. We were able to locate Rainbow Sparkles on eBay and get her back. Absolutely. Leslie Clark, welcome in. Welcome in. All right. So I had a third story, but we're running out of time. Maybe I will save that story for later because we're running out of time, so we can just chat. Leslie Clark, how you doing? Where are you coming in from? Meet Oscar Scott. Now you have a love for birds. Cool. That's awesome. That is very, very cool. Birds are cool, definitely, Oscar, for sure. All right. So let's just wind her down here. Oh, actually, what I want to do is I want to give you your little kindness call, your challenge for today. Yep. 3 tiny practices that you can do that we can call the Serenity signal. 3 tiny practices. The first is pause before you publish, right? Sometimes we get involved in the chat and instant reactions rarely age well. Lower the volume and raise the clarity. Most communication problems are volume problems. People are trying to figure out how loud this is or how aggressive, how intense the conversation is, rather than bringing it down a notch and having a conversation that doesn't escalate. Absolutely. And of course, choosing the battles that matter, making sure that you're really aligned with what you're saying, with what you're doing, rather than getting distracted, right? Not every notification is your destiny. Oh, I have to respond to that. Some are just noise that needs to drift by you so that you can obey, make the winds of your soul obey, just like Sully did, just like Toni Morrison did. Because in a world engineered for stimulus, for panic, outrage, and spectacle, quiet strength becomes revolutionary. Absolutely. Remember, serenity is what's going to tune your strings. Quiet strength is in hiding. quiet strength isn't shrieking. It's leading your inner weather and making the winds of your soul obey, even when the world howls back at you. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. Until then, stay uncommon and stay kind.
Okay, Matt, we got the memo about the Kindness Rising promo, but what exactly are we promising people?
And is there craft services? Hey, I need snacks too.
Gentlemen, focus. Kindness Rising multiplies kindness and helps people get up on the right side of the bed.
So wait, we're not doing another angry headline show.
Exactly. We rise above the negative, divisive noise.
Translation, less rage bait, more high fives for humanity. And this is live, like actually live.
Yep. We go live on YouTube and LinkedIn, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, every weekday.
Wait, if it's live, what if I forget my lines?
Then you improvise.
Okay, so our tagline is basically wake up, tune in, and start your day with kindness.
Exactly. Kindness Rising. Good vibes, practical tips, and a reason to get up on the right side of the bed.
You heard the boss. Subscribe now before he makes us do a TikTok dance.
Kindness Rising. Wake up, tune in, and let's make some good noise.